Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I want you guys to come on in if you know somebody that may or may not be experiencing this whole come back to work from employees working from home for a set period of time due to you know what that has happened in the last year or two. We definitely want to jump into what is going to happen or what's going on in different perspectives from maybe last year and also going on right now. I think it was this month and next month, there's a lot of employers that are requiring folks to come back to the building with the wonderful fluorescent lighting and all that entails. So, we're going to jump right into it. And I want you guys, of course, if you like the discussion that we're going to be having in regards to employers requiring folks to come back to work, and also employers wanting folks, although they can do 90% of their job from home, or requiring them to come back to that pasty old building. And of course, if you want to hear or talk about that or discuss that with me tonight, definitely drop a one and a wave in the chat, and we are going to jump on right in. Of course, guys, if you're here, the links are in the description of the two articles that we're going to be discussing, and then I also have 3 reasons why I think there's been such a incredible push for a lot of employers have pretty much pushed against the whole work from home phenomenon. All right, so let's jump right in here, folks. One moment, please. All right, here we are. It says bosses are obsessed with the return to work. This article is from Fortune, and Trey Williams is the one that wrote this article, and it reads: your boss is capital zero obsessed with the return to the office. Why is that? We're going to talk about my assessment on that in a little bit. At this point, we've heard about every reason for why trekking back to the fluorescent lit desks is the only way to go. No, it's not, but let's keep going. Returning to the office will make employees more productive. They feel more connected to their work. Okay, their colleagues and the company. Being at the office will improve young workers' career prospects, stave off layoffs, quell inflation, and strengthen the very commitment U.S. companies have promised they will diversify their workforce. This debate, should we or shouldn't we go back to work, is frustratingly tired, especially when you consider that the number of people working from home tripled from 2019, from 9 million to 2021 to 27.6 million, according to the most recent U.S. Census Bureau data. And yet, to the RTO zealots are still arguing for the return to the office, return to the before times, even as their employees continue to float mandates. Are leaders unaware that even pre-pandemic workers hated their arduous comments to offices where they sat in stiff chairs, looking at drab carpet, maneuvering untold untold office politics? It is simply picking up where we left off 18 months ago. Really, the best option we have for the future of work. The pandemic disrupted our lives in so many ways and offered us a generational opportunity to change parts of our lives that simply didn't work before. And yet, the people in positions of power seemingly have no interest in disrupting the status quo. Hold on a second. We're going to talk about why in a minute. I just want to make sure you guys get the perspective, because I'm definitely feeling the energy from this article already. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's go back. Now, is simply picking up where you left off 18 months ago really the best option we have for the future of work? The pandemic disrupted our lives, I said, in so many ways. and offered us a generational opportunity to change the parts of our lives that have simply didn't work before. And yet the people in positions of power seem to have no interest in disrupting the status quo. The greatest innovation to this point has been hybrid work, the tepid attempt to satisfy all parties that just results in everyone still spending their days on Zoom or Microsoft. What's the name of Microsoft's version of Zoom again? That particular meeting system. Oh yes, Microsoft Meet or something like that, or Google Meets. My bad. Meanwhile, workers have shown they're willing to embrace the hard and fast truth. We might never return to work like it was before. I'm gonna stop for a second. Could you please tell the employers that? Because a lot of them are like dead set on not ever. They're so like holding on to this. We want you to come back to the office because that's the only way we know how to be successful. I'm going to share my experience, and I'm also going to pretty much add to, give you guys a better idea, or I think reasons why, just based from an HR standpoint, why it is some of these employers are so hell-bent on holding on to the status quo. Guys, if you like the conversation so far, definitely drop a 1 in the comments. Like the video, share it with somebody that is going through this tug of war of their manager, supervisor, or organization in general, like Elon Musk, is requiring folks to come back to work, coming back into the office instead of them being able to do their jobs remotely. Let's continue, guys. Let's continue. Why your boss can't let go. A big reason business leaders have continued to beat the return to office drum despite continued pushback is simply because working in an office 5 days a week, 9 to 5 or 7 to 7, is what made them successful in the first place. There are other ways to be successful, folks. Now, I may play a little bit of this video from CNBC. Let's keep moving. We don't know any other way, says Bryant David Johnson. At least somebody's honest. An author and professor of practice at Arizona State University School of the Future of Innovation in Society. You don't go tell Steph Curry, you should really stop shooting threes. True. It's true. But in the spirit of keeping the analogy alive, if the NBA star decided to add a 4-point shot, you'd hope players would be compelled to innovate their game. The game has changed. Workers see it, they feel it, but many bosses and business leaders are trying to hold on to what has always worked. Though that also raises the question, worked for who? It's not hyperbole to suggest that the level of the shift we are experiencing shares DNA with what happened to the workforce during and after World War II, when women and Black Americans entered the workforce in droves, flocking to factories to fulfill the demand for supplies and fueling. Hey there, Credit Solutionists. How you doing this evening? This here Saturday evening. Enter the workforce in droves, flocking to factories and fulfill the demand for supplies, fueling the economy while so many men were away at war. When victory was declared, returning American soldiers expected to pick up things where they left off. Many women did leave the workforce after the war, but tasted financial freedom, expecting them and subsequent generations to simply return to keeping the house and raising the children wasn't realistic. The face of the workforce literally changed, and in post-war boom, more jobs were created, and in order to continue rapid economic growth, businesses could no longer ignore the wide sash of population who were eager to work. I think that we're dealing with the same thing here, Johnson says. You have a global event that fundamentally changed the workforce. Johnson spent time during the pandemic, in addition to writing a book, working with CEOs, business leaders, and trade associations, discussing just what the post-lockdown future might look like. What we're grappling with is the culture change, Johnson said. He likened it to a car crash. March 2020, We collided hard with systems the pandemic highlighted weren't working. Initially, you have an incredible amount of trauma, John says. You don't know what's been broken until you start to heal. So you start with the basics. Are you breathing? That was 2020. Yeah. Now we're going through rehab. Yet, many business leaders do not want to acknowledge the pain we have been we've been dealing with for more than a year of we need to get people back to the offices craze, but office buildings occupancy has been stagnant through much of the summer, stuck at around 43%, according to Castle Systems, a security company that tracks patterns in employee key card systems. And while there has been much made of the seriousness with which companies are taking return to work office policies post Labor Day this year, there's literally been no change as employees continue to ignore the mandates. Folks. Unfortunately, darling, it is changed in a way that now employers really have to look within. What's really the driving motivator behind threatening people's money? Because I've done a video about this before, where there are things you can do if your employer threatens to either terminate you because you don't want to return to the office, although 100% of your job can be done from home, or they've threatened to reduce your pay, or they could be like straight up Elon Musk, it's either you come to work or you don't have a job. It's the nose in the grindstone stubbornness for me. And unfortunately, there are so many examples of employers that didn't adjust to the times and the seasons that they were in. And a lot of those companies are either a fraction of themselves or they no longer exist. Anybody remember Blockbuster videos? Crickets. Anybody know what they're about? If you weren't around in the early 90s, I forgot when that particular company started. But around the early 2000s, this little company called Netflix came on the scene, and you didn't have to chuck your DVDs or the VHS videos. Most of these children don't know what VHS videos are. Most of them don't know. Had to chuck your DVD or your videos to the store, and if it's late, you got to pay the late fee. This little company called Netflix popped up around that time, and they offered a particular service for a fee per month about exactly. Credit Solutionist said, "Don't come for my." Listen, I was in there every Friday night getting my 3-4 videos. Half of them jokers I used to fall asleep on because I was so tired after I got home. Got my little popcorn, got my couple of movies. Was late most of the time taking them back. But I love me some Blockbuster. But Blockbuster, like other companies, there is a trend. They had the opportunity, as you say, Credit Solutionists, they had the opportunity to move with the trend, and they chose not to. And 15 plus years later, most of these children that have been born since then don't know what Blockbuster is, but they sure know what Netflix is. Because, exactly, yeah, Blockbuster used to be my Friday night ritual. Guess what it is now? Netflix, or all the other apps and all the other on-demand services that are out there. Had Blockbuster just moved, like this particular, like Johnson is saying, he's meeting with leaders, he's meeting with bosses, he's meeting with company leaders, and they're having this resistance to work from home. So much so, like Elon Musk is saying, if you don't come back to work, you don't have a job. Yeah, those were the days. You would get your videos and you pop it in, and everybody be crowded around in the couch in the living room with the popcorn, especially if it's a scary movie. Oh, I remember those days, honey. I remember those days. But unfortunately, Blockbuster, like a lot of these CEOs, like a lot of these company leaders, like a lot of these bosses, do not want to grapple with the fact that the typical 9 to 5 in the office thing for a lot of positions that they hold in their companies is no longer required. A lot of people, including me, I've had the lovely experience of working from home. Not the job I'm in now, but a couple of jobs before this. I did more work from home than I did when I was going back and forth to the office. But let them tell it. We're just sitting at home, not doing nothing, collecting a check, according to Mr. Dave Ramsey. We're not going to talk about him today. That's for a whole other chapter, for a whole other day. But pretty much what this article is looking at, it's looking at it from a lens of it's the old paradigm that's popping up, and because it was supposed to happen this month. He did say after Labor Day, a lot of companies were saying we require you to come back to work. A lot of employees are going, nah, I'm working from home. Am I delivering the results that my job description said I need to deliver? Then what's the problem? And personally, I don't see what the problem is either. But that is to give you a better idea. I'll kind of give you guys a better viewpoint of this, and just taking a little bit. It's actually the video is literally 2 minutes long. Let's hear it.
For Labor Day, and more employers are mandating that workers return to offices at least 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Are these return to office mandates a good thing for business or not? Guess who's here to weigh in on both sides of it? John Ford. Good morning, sir.
Hey, morning, Andrew. I mean, no, these are not a good idea. These mandates are short-sighted. They're going to cost companies some of their most talented workers. Just 60% of employers today are in office only. Before the pandemic, it was 78%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Well, why? I think it's the legacy of it's the way we'd always done it, and there was no reason to change. Just 20 years ago, if you wanted to do research on the internet or even place and receive business calls, you needed in-office connectivity. Now, the broadband and smartphone revolutions have made it so we can not only work from anywhere, but also form and maintain relationships with both coworkers and partners. So why call workers back now? I think there are 3 misguided ideas driving the return to office. One, some companies have big empty buildings and they just have to justify the overhead expense. And 2, some lazy managers didn't figure out how to effectively harness a hybrid and remote workforce. And with the economic slowdown and new productivity mandates, they're calling people in to look effective. And then 3, leaders who overhired and underutilized their workforces since 2020 are using office mandates as a way to get people to lay themselves off, which is dumb, because in the process, they're also going to squash the morale of the people they want to keep, Andrew.
But hold on, hadn't the labor market gone way out of balance, don't you think, with soaring wages and companies pressuring to let people work from the beach? I mean, isn't that the issue?
Well, yeah. On the other hand, it is time to get back to the office. I understand the commute's terrible and a lot of people got used to doing better things with that time, but that's not the point. There are some tasks that just get done better and faster with people in a room together. And in person is still the highest bandwidth, highest resolution, lowest latency way to interact. Elon Musk is mandating a return to offices at Tesla, not because he doesn't get technology, but because cross-functional creativity is better together. And I've heard this again and again from CEOs since the pandemic started. If you're executing existing plans, remote often works great. Coming up with new ideas, in person. Remote is fine for mid-career specialists who want to do their own thing in isolation. But if you're a leader trying to build a strong culture where new employees are energized and mentored by those mid-career aces, that's just not going to happen as effectively over Zoom. And yes, you're going to have some industries where remote work remains a pretty strong trend, like software development, where the labor market is still extra tight. But even that's going to change. I had the CEO of a dynamic software startup tell me it was a mistake to have a hybrid option for this year's developer gathering. Next year's, he said, is going to be in-person only because the engagement in person is that much more valuable.
Well. And I agree and disagree with some of what he says. But Credit Solutionist, he said, what's the age range of the pro-office people? Of course. There's always going to be a generation gap. Whether there's a generation gap, you're going to always have people that think you being in the office is the best and only way for you to work, no matter what age you're at. And then, of course, the millennials, the ones that are younger than that are just starting the workforce, they're more open to new ideas. Unfortunately, my generation and older, some have adopted to the whole work-life balance and want to have a hybrid option. But unfortunately, I've read articles where the hybrid option is only temporary because what they're wanting to do is transition all the way back to 5 days a week. So I personally think the hybrid model is reasonable for some. And if you want to keep it that way, fine. What I don't like is you're giving people a hybrid option only to transition back to you have to be in the office to work. And I don't see that as being reasonable. I think the hybrid model gives everybody kind of what they want in a sense. I did agree with one thing he said about on the employer side, where he did state that there are some things. Let's say, for example, if you're having a conference of some kind and you have VPs from all over the country or from all over the world, depending on how large your organization is, coming together and having a conference. If you're having some form of a conference and you have a lot of people in one room, that does work better. However, that's only an event of minimal proportions. That's just my take on that. That's not your everyday. So there may be some instances where you need to meet in person for the annual this or the quarterly that. Fine. But on day to day, there's a lot of jobs that you can do remotely. I do think the hybrid model is reasonable in most cases. Credit Solutionist says, I actually wish I could see my teammates daily to foster relationships. I personally foster relationships when I was working remotely through the Microsoft Teams app. I would call up, so you take the initiative to build a relationship, whether it's over in the internet or it's in person. I built those relationships over the in the Zoom or the Microsoft Teams or whatever communication device you use. You can see the person, you're talking to the person. As long as you're interacting, it doesn't matter if it's in person or not. And everything. And there's some things that apply to some and some that don't apply to others. So it just depends. And of course, let me make sure I read the whole thing. I actually wish I could see my teammates daily to foster those relationships. We are all off doing our own thing every day. I'm only close to 3 of my 16 teammates. Well, at least you're close to 3. Shoot, I could work at a place and have 20 teammates, and you're lucky if I talk to one outside of what it is that I need you to do for what we need to do for work. So it just depends on who you are. And I think because you may personally be a social person, and I understand that. Because that's what I said. There's some people that a hybrid model may work for, because then that, being in the office at times may feed into your gregarious personality or your extroverted personality. While me, a born introvert, yes, I'm a born introvert. I'm doing my work. I got my computer wherever I am. I'm working. If I need something, I can call XYZ. If I need to collaborate, I collaborate with who I need to collaborate over the computer, get what I need to get done, and I'm out. So I don't necessarily need a lot of interaction, me personally, when I'm working. So being in person, it doesn't make a difference for me. You've been working so the Credit Solution said I've been working with them for 4 years and I've only met one in person. And I mean, you're working remotely for the stretch of a good period of time. And for you, I think if you want to, try to see if you can foster that relationship directly. If they're in the same state or if they're in a different place, then you guys make arrangements to meet up and just like interact. Just have coffee. Start there. You can definitely interact outside of work if you so choose. And at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's an individual thing. And I personally, I'm more of I'm at work. And if I actually get a friend out of this, great. But if I don't, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to work and go and make my money. That's just me when it comes onto an actual job. Now, what it is I do, you do have to interact and things of that nature, because of course, by the virtue of being in HR, human resources, that is exactly what can happen. Sorry about that, guys. Let me put this phone on silence. Okay, let's see here. And of course, Credit Solutionist, I don't mind. You can blow up chat all you want, darling. Remember, if there's anyone else that is listening right now or is watching and you want to, hello, Miss Joan. How you doing? Of course, show her up all you want, guys. I definitely, if you guys have questions or you want to make a comment as to what we're discussing tonight, because this whole return to the office thing has made headlines, especially for the past few months, because it was supposed to be implemented this month, of course. All right, Miss Chris. Joan, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Of course. Listen, guys, I want to make sure that you guys understand the perspective of what's really going on here. Of course, we're high-fiving each other virtually right now. Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to the chat. Now, I do want to touch on article number 2, just so we get a different perspective. Two sides of the same coin. All right. Let's see here. So, all righty. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Now, this article was written last January. And it's from, let's see here. No, we're not gonna go through all of that, y'all. But let's see here. From the Medium, right? And the Medium's the title of it, it's written by Joel Nyleen is the name. And he said, there's actually no good reason for us to all go back to the office. He pretty much gives it to you in the headline, like, is it really necessary? Maybe not. And we're just going to touch on a little bit of things, and then we're going to get into the discussion. Remember when the idea of working from home every day or any made the management clutch its pearls? It was an issue of technology, the policies, the logistics, or the company culture, or dozens of other excuses. Then the pandemic hit. As it turns out, your company rules about working from home weren't about what was practical or necessary to get the job done. There was more about outdated management philosophies, neurosis of your boss. Sound familiar? That's kind of what the guy talked about earlier, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later too. Our coronavirus-induced experiment in long-term work from home has proven largely a success. Credit Solutionist, you're a great example of that. You were working from home even before the pandemic, but you're successful in what you do. You get the job done, and your company, fortunately, is not one of these companies that's requiring people to come back to the office, because the nature of your job doesn't require it. A lot of these companies that's requiring it, they don't necessarily have to come back to the office, but we're going to touch on that in a little bit. Now, Credit Solution, you said, you're the same. Like Joan, you like human contact. There's nothing wrong with that. Also like the option to go into the office a little, some days, and it's hard to do in an office. But at home, I just go on Do Not Disturb, which is why I personally think working from home, you get your job done more efficiently because you don't have a lot of distraction, because a lot of the office, unfortunately, does offer distractions that may unfortunately help you to take care of your tasks a little bit longer. Joan shares that sentiment. You absolutely enjoy. I enjoy my alone time just like Joan. I actually like going to the stores by myself. Listen, Joan, that's you sounds like you're more introverted like I am. when it comes to handling your business. I mean, I talk and I socialize because I'm in a position now where I work at the actual location, but quite as it's kept, I prefer to work from home because I get more done with less disturbances. But anyway, yeah, me too. As you know, I went shopping solo today. All right, so y'all talking. At the end of the day, guys, everyone is wired a little different. I personally love the working from home. And I'll enjoy working from home even more once some other things come to fruition. So at the end of the day, guys, everything, some things work for some people, some things work better for others. So let me see here. Let's continue. That's why office employees and knowledge workers can do most office work from home or almost anywhere. There's an internet connection. That's why the move by some companies to get everyone back to the office seems nonsensical. I agree. The expectation of work-life balance has been forever changed, according to Gallup. Most Americans working from home want to keep doing so as much as possible after this pandemic ends. We're still in it, but some of these companies still want us to let's come back to the office. People are happier, more efficient, save money, they're less stressed, and they have more time for family and for themselves. They can work out, cook healthier meals, read a book, focus on hobbies. They have an overall better quality of life. And way less overhead. Absolutely. Listen, Twitter was one of the first to announce it would let employees work from home permanently. The list of companies allowed to work from home has kept growing. So tell me why the other ones are doing this nonsense now about, you're required to come, Elon Musk and all those other folks. They want to do what they do. But, that whole collaboration, we require you to be in the office 5 days a week. There's some companies that are pushing that hard, and they're about to let people go as well. Anywho, Twitter. Yeah, Twitter was a list of companies allowing to work from home has kept growing. The genie's out of the bottle, but some bosses will want to try to put the genie back, which they have been doing, which is why these mandates are putting in place. Some bosses will want to try to, workers will need to fight to keep these benefits when the pandemic ends, like they're doing right now. Return to the office is the ultimate, we've always done it this way move. Making workers return to the office is not the same as implementing a pay cut and cut in benefits. Not great for morale. Exactly. Work from home permanently or even just most of the week improves lives and makes sense, but employers won't shift to a remote first footing without opposition. The good news is that the toughest part of transitioning to a remote first model has already been achieved. It might be hard for some stubborn executives to let go of the past once the pandemic is over, but there's just no going back. This was also written last year, and they are pushing back hard. You should see some of the articles on Twitter, not Twitter, on LinkedIn. It's ridiculous. Seeing everyone at all times is a management shortcut. Butts in seats is a bad metric for productivity. You're telling me. The best measure of productivity is output, not time. Improved productivity is a better quality of life, and better quality of life are not mutually exclusive. Hasn't stopped companies from coming up with reasons they want to bring everybody back to the office. Way less overhead. Yep. I don't think I'll ever. Exactly. That you can work for any one of us that's enterprising, that's in business, like myself, a credit solutionist. I don't have to have that person around me. I want to make sure that there's objectives that I'm going to set up. And as long as you're meeting your objectives, that's part. I can manage somebody remotely. As long as they're doing their work. If they're not doing their work, they're going to have a problem. But this whole, I have to have eyes on you for me to know you are working. Those managers did not shift and learn how to collaborate with their team without putting eyeballs on them. That's unfortunately that's the shortcoming of the manager, not the team. Trust. Joan, I don't see a problem either. Way less overhead. Yeah. As long as they can do their work and get their stuff done. Exactly. Joan says, I don't see a problem as long as people are keeping their productivity up. It's not about the productivity, honey. A lot of these companies, I'm gonna get into what I think in a second, or what my perspective is on all of this. A lot of these leaders are lazy. A lot of these leaders do not realize that you don't have to put a pair of eyes on somebody to really manage what it is that they're doing. Because they think, oh, if you're not in your place by X number times, that, oh, they're not doing their job and I need to find out what's going on and blah, 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 blah. No. There's different ways. There's 25 ways to skin a cat. Learn other ways to interact with your team. Come on. Yep. Upper management also won't get company credit cards, paid expenses, and their lack of skill will probably get exposed. Wah, wah. It's already being exposed. But they're not going to put that in news articles, are they? Nah. They're only focused on the tug of war mentally, right? The tug of war between employees that want to still work from home and the employers that are vehemently against it, like Elon Musk and others that talk about work. If you still want to work from home, just know that your career longevity and your career elevation will be threatened. Oh, you've had some folks that said that too. I've seen some crazy things. Oh wow. There's so many layers. There is so many layers to this credit solutionist. Joan, there are people like you in the credit solutionist that are efficient and get things done, but there are others that are lazy as heck. That's true, but they're gonna be lazy whether they come in the office or not, Joan, unfortunately. And Joan says, and if that's a problem, then write them up. Exactly. Document and discipline them in the proper way. If they choose not to improve, then they out the door. Exactly. Bernadette, welcome to the show. How you doing today? Definitely, if you like what's going on, definitely share it with people you know. If you're going through that whole tug of war with your employer right now, where they're saying that you have to be back in the office, if they're not even trying to do a hybrid with you, then y'all start looking. If they're not even willing to do a hybrid with you, where you work there 2 days a week and you work from home 3 days a week. Exactly. Credit solution is Elon Musk is a poopy head. That's the nicest way I can put it. Of course, he's a drama king. Of course, child. Let's not even talk about the fact him show up to work every day. No. But the thing of it is, Elon Musk is a person that may have a lot of systems in place too, so he doesn't have to necessarily be there. But it only applies to him or other CEOs that think that way. Let me not get on trouble with these internets, child, but I'm just letting you know. Yeah, it's all well and good till it trickles down to you, but we're not gonna talk about that. We say what's up to each other. Joan said, I've heard some companies that want the camera on. Yeah, while you're working. I've seen a couple of TikToks that, that got picked up where the person went to use the bathroom. They were at work on their computer, not at work physically, but they were working on the computer. They were doing a customer service job and they went to the bathroom. And while they went to the bathroom, they have this rule: if there's not keys moving after 2 minutes, they shut down your computer, and then you have to call to get access to the computer so you can continue working. And the thing of it is, you cannot go to the freaking bathroom. Like, come on, y'all. Like, there's some work from home jobs that are ridiculous too. You understand? There's some work from home jobs that are absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, the ones that they require a camera and all this other foolishness. So, Bernadette says, I'm work from home permanently. Awesome. They embrace telework. You are working with an organization that is forward thinking. So your organization is in the category in the early 2000s of the Netflixes versus the Blockbusters. All right. Wonderful, Bernadette. That is awesome. All right. Hey, Miss Joan. Everybody saying what's up to each other. Credit Solutionist, remember working from home was a perk. It was 5, 6, 7 years ago. It wasn't a popular term because they used to divvy that out to their favorites, quote unquote, divvy that out to their favorites and who they thought was worthy of working from home. And now the pandemic said, no, slap all that across the face. And now it's at a point now where a lot of employers really need to look in the mirror. Because here's the 3 reasons why I personally think they're resisting the whole work from home when more than half of their employees can actually work from home and do their jobs efficiently. Employers want to maintain control of the employees' time while they are working from home. And that because they're working while they're working. So, and because working from home, they're not watching them. They're not putting their eyes on them. They feel like they're losing control. They literally feel like control over their employees. Of course, control should not be the issue. What it should be is the person is working for your organization. They're not your slave. They're working for your organization and they're there to do a specific job. They're not there to, this and this and that. And it's a level of control that a lot of employers loved being in that position, and working from home kind of diminishes that in a sense. Because the whole driving into work and getting into traffic and this whole 9 yards business, a lot of employers really and truly do not like that they can't put their eyes on employees. It is old-fashioned, and it's a level of trust they don't even have for themselves, which is why they don't have it for their employees. It's unfortunate, but true. Current Solution says, yeah, buy a mouse jiggler. It's a lifesaver. Oh, Jesus. Oh, it's a lifesaver, I see. All right. So, yeah, for those work from home jobs that you literally go use the bathroom and then you come back, you can't even get into your computer because you're not supposed to leave the computer, is absolutely asinine. I'm sorry. You may want to reconsider finding another job if that's the case. You can't even use the bathroom without going through a whole. That's a waste of resources. If you're watching your employees that much, you don't trust them. And if you don't trust them, why are they in your organization in the first place? Just saying. All right, Ms. Bernadette, you're saying, hey, Mentor Shelley and team here, remote work and telework are in our collective bargaining agreements. Awesome. See, you are in a union that actually works and helps their employees. There's people that I know personally that it did not work out for. So I definitely understand that. Let's see here. NTU, Ms. Bernadette says, NTEU union fought for this privilege. Listen. If all the unions were actually doing their jobs like you are doing that your union is doing right now, then I would welcome unions, especially when it comes to a lot of the mistreatment of employees that's going on in a lot of different employers right now. I wish all of the unions operated in this way. But they don't. But I'm so grateful that you're in a position where that is how your unions operate. Like 15 bucks. You still talking about this jiggler business? Girl, listen, what I'm not gonna do is encourage you to do things that may get you written up on your job. I am still in HR. Okay? You talk about that mouse jiggler. Girl, stop it. All right, Miss Joan. Mouse jiggler. Yeah, it is legit. It is something you can use. She told you how much it was on Amazon. Oh Lord. Yes. Okay. All right, Credit Solutionists. You are encouraging. Alyssa, welcome to the show. Yeah, we use timesheets and we just have to get we use timesheets and just have to get the work done. So easy. I'm in marketing and I don't really see a lot of back to office requirements, maybe in some industries. It's all over the place. And it's not necessarily the industry that is you might see it more in. Of course, there's some jobs you cannot do from home. Food production is one of them. Warehouse is one of them. A lot of manual labor type jobs you're not going to be able to do from home. But if you're in insurance, whether it's insurance sales, insurance administration, where you're handling claims, and you may not, and you're having, if you don't necessarily have to go out in the field to take pictures or to assess or do any kind of audits, a lot of what you do is going to be from home. If you're in even airlines, a lot of what they do on the back end, the business end of things, can be done from home. A lot of the day-to-day office administrative tasks that is involved in a lot of people's positions can be done from home. But there are a lot of companies that are still so resistant to it that it literally is going to cause them to lose great talent. And they're going to start seeing regressions or decreases in their overall, because if you can't keep good talent, eventually it's going to hit your bottom line. Ask Blockbuster. They know. Just saying. And of course, Ms. Jones says TCS encourages panhandling and mouse jigglers. Oh, Ms. Jones, entrepreneur, she must be doing something right. You guys are funny. Oh, gosh. Listen. A correction. I'm remote with exception. I still have to travel to work occasionally. Well, you at least have a hybrid situation that the union fought for, which is great. At least you have a union that's efficient, that's really going to make sure that the employees' needs are met. I mean, they could have said no remote work at all, but at least they were able to. You're able to work from home with exception, and you also, I'm sure there's other things that are put in place to help the other employees. At the end of the day, guys, a lot of the employers are not even trying to entertain the work from home since the huge dangers of the pandemic has been lifted. Another reason I personally think that a lot of these managers, business owners, executives are resistant to working from home. Employers are not open-minded enough to see what flexible schedules can yield better results. Because if morale is high, your work gets done. And employees are encouraged to meet and exceed your expectations. No. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? Huh? Oh boy, I tell you. Let's see. Supervisors are getting training in our CBA. Oh, okay. You might want to you want to let us know what a CBA is, Miss Bernadette? You're educating me tonight, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, of course. Joan is asking the same question I'm asking. What's a CBA? But in Miss Bernadette's case, that is an employer that's at least trying to get with the program as far as a change in times. I'm sure there were other organizations back in World War II when all the men went to go fight the war and women had to step up and get in, and start working in the public and private sector in companies. And that changed the workforce forever. Now women were like, well, I made my own money. I can start making some more decisions about how finances are working at my household. It changed the game. It changed the entire workforce forever. Oh, collective bargaining agreement. My bad. Okay, that's what CBA means. Gotcha. All right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I've been saying collective bargaining agreement, but sometimes it takes me a minute to catch on to the acronyms, so to speak. So, yeah, it's a lot of them are open-minded because they've always done it this way, and it's always worked this way until it doesn't. That's what change is all about. I am sure the horse and carriage was a great way. It always worked that way until the horsepower got placed in an engine and somebody developed a car that didn't need actual horses. Change. There's nothing wrong with change. And a lot of these employers do not want to change. They do not want to actually open their mind up to the fact that they can manage people remotely. And they're doing their job. If they have the right mindset in getting to know their employees, what their strengths are. You don't have to see somebody to manage them. But a lot of them are not open to growing as a manager or as a leadership part of the organization to get that. A lot of them aren't, which is why they're pushing so hard against working from home. Another reason I think they're so resistant to working from home is that they're fearful, and I'm going to touch on one of my favorite subjects. They're fearful employees are going to participate in overemployment. So this is one of the ways for them to reduce the overemployment that's not been brewing. That has exploded in the last year or two. U.S. Department of Agriculture wants to retain Gen Zs and millennials. Yeah, you want to retain a younger your generation of workers, you have to cater to them to some degree. They are human resources, not human slaves. Yeah. And a lot of Gen Zers and millennials like the idea of flexibility. And that's an employer that's actually willing to provide flexibility. And that is beautiful. Alyssa. Oh, yes. When I tell you boomer mentality, y'all remember the last time I said that word? I was referring to Mr. Ramsey because he does act like a boomer. Like the only way, oh, God forbid, you work from home. You're sitting at home, not doing anything all day and collecting a check. Ignorance and incorrect. That's exactly what's driving a lot of this supposed resistance to not to overemployment. That's a whole nother tangent, and I'll go on because that's one of my favorite subjects. Yeah. A lot of them are pushing against this because they started hearing the word overemployment or these employees have too remote jobs. So God forbid, employees have options. Employees have options. Really? They have options. Yes, they do. And because employees have options, a lot of these employers are fearful of losing their talent, but pushing people to work in the office when they can do their work from home is also going to push away your talent. So the action to try and prevent something is actually going to have the opposite effect. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you do work with, okay, the Credit Solutions said, do you do any work with USDA loans and real estate? Oh, this is for Bernadette. All right, y'all talking. Okay. Yes. Isn't sitting on your butt making money called passive income? Come on, Credit Solutionists. Dropping bombs on antiquated boomer thinking. Boom. That was a bar. I love it. Exactly. Uh-huh. Oh, jeez. Yes, yes. Yeah. Yes, yes. You guys were talking, but I'm gonna keep this one up here. I like it. It really is boomer mentality that, and a lot of them do think that when you work two jobs, you're not actually working two jobs. I done went off on Dave before in regards to this antiquated, incorrect thinking that he has that everybody that has to work from home jobs don't actually work. Wow. What a vapid assumption. Anyway, guys, I want to make sure y'all have what you need in these here work from home resistant times. Thankfully, Bernadette and other participants in our show tonight, Credit Solutionists, are not in that position. They are working with employers that are at least in the mind frame of having work from home employees, because God forbid if you're not doing your job at home, you're not going to do it when you're in the building either. So miss me with the we have to have people in the office stuff. I was going to say something else, but I digress. Let's see here. Exactly, Miss Bernadette. You have the choice. You go into the office when needed, so you have a flexible situation, which is also great. I just don't like the whole absolutes where it's absolutely not. This is not how it's worked for 50 years, so it's not going to work this way now. No, come on. Let's be clear. Let's be clear, and let's be honest. It's because you don't know how to shift. You don't know how to be flexible. So you're holding everybody else accountable for your limited mindset. And as an employer, I'd expect better. You did all this work to have a company because you pushed against the grain. Why is it so impossible for you to think outside of the box now as an employer? Come on, folks. Come on, employers. This is for y'all. Thank you so much, Alyssa. I appreciate those. Yes, I do have HR experience, and I actually did some overemployment for a little small period of time myself. So, a lot of, quiet as it's kept, a lot of HR folks are just like y'all. It's a lot of the companies. What you may run into with issues is if you have employment agreements that specifically state, they prohibit you from doing this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my own economy. So if you're able to truly do overemployment and do it efficiently and work out a schedule and stick to that, and you have to get super skilled in time management. Of course, get your rest. At the end of the day, I have no problem with overemployment as long as you're doing them folk job. You don't take the job if you're not going to do it. But do what you can handle, and if you realize one's getting a little bit, it's getting to the point where you're stressed out and you're this and you're that, then go ahead and let one of those go. But if you're able to do both and you're able to function efficiently, go for it. because the reward is 2 paychecks. You can get rid of some debt. You can get, start a business with the extra funds or build up your emergency fund. You can do all kinds of great, wonderful things that Dave says people should do to get out of debt, but have an issue when people actually get 2 jobs working from home. But I guess it's the working from home part he has a problem with. Let me not get started on it, because I will be here exploring his contradictions all night. At the end of the day, guys, working from home and returning to the office in a lot of ways is not necessary. But unfortunately, we're dealing with employers that are fearful that people are participating in overemployment, that's fearful that their control is not going to be maintained over these employees' times while they're working. A lot of them, it's more, they're closed-minded, and God forbid you do something different. We're not in post because it's still an issue, but we are in a day and time in 2022 where technology has afforded the opportunity for people to work from anywhere there's an internet connection and a decent computer. The unfortunate part about it is there's so many employers that do not understand how much opportunity that opens them up to. But like Blockbuster, they'll learn. They'll learn. And Kodak, that didn't decide to go to digital cameras and digital till it was way too late. They're still in the game, but their market share dramatically reduced. Dramatically. Communal offices. What do you mean communal offices? Well, a big line of desks sitting next to, hell no. What the hell? No. First of all, as I said, I'm an introvert by nature. I know I have XYZ to do. I don't want to be looking at you. Listen, it's just me. I'm being real casual right now, but I'm doing my work. I want to at least be in an area where I can focus and do my work. I don't want to be doing my work and then you across the desk is making noise or doing something out of me. I am not a fan of communal workspaces. No. You're doing that if you're brainstorming for something and you're in a meeting. But actually working like that every day, it's a no for me. It's an absolute no for me. Yeah. No. I'm so glad I have different experiences. It's more of a modern thing. A lot of millennials and Gen Zers have only worked in these type of offices. Good for them. No. No, not that I could never do it. I just prefer not to. I don't know what you guys think about that, but communal workspaces? Yeah. No, I'm good on that. If you're working on a team project, of course. If your regular tasks or what needs to be done and what needs to be processed, what needs to be updated. Yeah, Gen Z. No, I realized what it was, like a classroom vibe. I left school years ago. Not trying to go back. Well, no, I would never say that. I'm always up for learning. I'm always up for learning. As long as I'm alive, I'm learning. So let me not be too casual here, but I'm not with the whole communal high school situation where you're in a classroom. It's like a classroom or semicircle table setting, working with different people like right here. Nah. I'm an introvert by nature for that reason. But I digress. Guys, of course, if you are unfortunately in any of these situations, we know of folks that are in this chat right now that are not having to deal with this mess. You are in with employers that are actually working to provide a flexible environment, or some of you are working from home exclusively, which is awesome. There are a lot of employees now facing losing the possibility of losing their jobs, facing the possibility of having reduction in pay. And if you are experiencing anything like that and you definitely need to prepare to make a transition, you can definitely go to mentorshelley.com/consultations, where we can go through a live review of your resume or your other career tools, such as your cover letters, your letters of recommendation, things of that nature. I do have that service available at mentorshelley.com/consultations. Or if you want me to do a complete resume overhaul, you can go to mentorshelley.com/consultations as well to get that completed by moi. I want you to be prepared for all of the madness that's going on around here when it comes to dealing with employers that do not have the flexibility of an oak tree when it comes to this work from home stuff. So, guys, I want you to be prepared to make your move, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own economy. And the only person you have to answer to when those bills need to be paid is you. So you have to make sure you're in an employment situation that is also benefiting you, not just the employer, but you as well. Guys, if you have questions, definitely share this video with people that may be experiencing this. Or if you are getting ready for interviews, let's say you kind of saw the writing on the wall months ago and you're already having your resume get sent all over the place, and you're getting interviews, but you're nervous about that, you can go to mentorshelley.com/interview. I have a audio series that you can use, or you can go ahead and book a consult for us to go through before, during, and after coaching. So I have interview coaching available as well. Guys, I want to make sure you become a better version of yourself professionally. I appreciate every last one of you that joined the live tonight, to join the live show tonight. Miss Alyssa, Miss Bernadette, Miss Credit Solutionist, as always, and Miss Joan, that joined me to discuss this madness with a lot of these employers not wanting to be flexible with the whole work from home situation. You know, of course, Ramsey Solutions is actually one of them, but we'll talk about him on another live show. Guys, take care. Of course, this is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. And we'll be talking about something more interesting next week. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.